Hi all. In this video I'm going to be going over the basics of how to use a color wheel. I'm going to help you guys identify your primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, and I'm also going to talk to you about how to find a few color harmonies, including your basic complement, your triad, and your analogous colors. Okay, so first things first, this is a color wheel. You have your primary colors, so yellow, red, and blue here. Helpful arrows will show you your primaries. They form a triad themselves, which is to say there are three colors apart on the color wheel. See, you can go yellow and count in between. 1, 2, 3, red. 1, 2, 3, blue. Okay? So those are your primary colors, and what's good to know about primary colors is that any amount of colors in the universe can be created from your primary colors. So it's really important to be able to identify those. So now let's talk about how you get your secondary colors. Obviously, secondary 2, second. So you'll notice that there's a color space in between each primary color and secondary color. That is to say that if you mix the color yellow with the color red, you're going to get your secondary colors, okay? So let's go ahead and... Okay, so secondary colors, of course, again, orange. Orange is found by mixing these two primaries, and you'll notice they're one color space apart on the color wheel. And this is true of every secondary color. So red and blue, one space from blue you'll find purple, one space from red you'll find purple. So red and blue make purple, secondary color. Again, green, one space from blue to green and one space from yellow to green. So blue and yellow get you green. Let's go ahead and write that here so that secondary colors. Okay. So yeah, these will always be made from mixing your primary colors, your secondary colors here. Okay, now it's green, secondary. All right. So now we know our primaries and secondaries. And your secondaries are also three spaces apart on a color wheel, okay? So you've got green, 1, 2, 3, orange. Orange, 1, 2, 3, purple. Purple, 1, 2, 3, green, okay? So that's just a great thing to know, especially when we talk about how to make a triad, okay? So then what are tertiary colors? Tertiary meaning, of course, 3 or third. So you're going to get your tertiary colors by mixing a primary and a secondary. And this is probably the easiest to locate because your tertiaries are right in between your primaries and your secondaries. Okay, so between yellow and orange here we have yellow, orange. Okay, between our orange and red we have red, orange. All right, between our red and our purple, which really I would like to say violet. I like to use violet, but we would do red, violet. And they're very easy to label because they're just the names of the colors mixed, right? Although we do have, weirdly enough, we wouldn't usually say orange red. There's a certain vernacular around it. So between our blue and our violet, we've got blue, violet. Let's change that text color to white on these darker ones. It's just easier to see. Okay. And between our blue and green, blue, blue, green. It's as easy as that. Okay. And between our yellow and our green, we have yellow, green. Okay, so those are our tertiary colors. They are yellow, green, yellow, orange, red, violet, and blue, green. And they are one color apart on the color wheel. So blue, green, one color, yellow, green, one color, yellow, orange, okay? So how do we use the color wheel? How do we utilize it for, you know, if we're not sure, say we want a nighttime scene and we want those colors to match, but they need to all be kind of similar and these kinds of issues. Well, our very first and easiest to remember color harmony is, of course, our complementary colors. And these colors are found in nature. They're found in sports teams. They're found in all kinds of places. So, I mean, for instance, so we go one color across on the color wheel. Okay, so yellow and violet here, they're primary colors. We go blue and orange, auburn. You know, we see these colors a lot. So any color directly across from its counterpart, red, green, those are complementary. But then you have your more interesting ones like yellow, green, and red, violet, and those are also complementary. So they don't have to be primary colors or even secondary, you know, or a primary and a secondary is usually going to be what you have. But they can be any color across from each other on the color wheel, and they're always going to look good. They're tried and true throughout, you know, time. We know that primary colors, they just work. Red and green for Christmas, you know. We just know that they look good together, and this is really helpful, you know, when if we get into warm and cools. But not going to do that right now. We're just going to talk about a few color harmonies. So we're also going to talk about the triad, because the triad is really easy and it ties right into what we're talking about with primary and secondary colors. So as I mentioned before, you know, we've got yellow, 1, 2, 3, red, 1, 2, 3, blue. That's a triad. And you've probably seen that in like preschools. It's really popular with like children's shows and preschool animation, that red, yellow, and blue. It's very childlike, and that is a triad. And I'm going to take, let's see, I'm going to take the line tool here and even it makes a triangle. So that's where the name comes from, okay? That's a triad when you use your triangle. And you can spin this triangle and it'll work in any direction. Okay, so any colors, three colors apart on the color wheel, that's a triad. So let's see. All right, so let's spin it. Let's see what we get. All right, spin that triangle. We get yellow, orange, red, violet, blue, green. That's a beautiful triad. And again, you spin this and get it any way you want. And you can write these down. I mean, if it's easier for you to remember, you can make a list of yellow, orange, red, violet, blue, green, you know, or yellow, red, blue, and you can write triad and write all those down. So that's a triad. So now we're going to talk about what are analogous colors, and this is a really easy one and a really handy one. I mentioned earlier, you know, wanting to do a nighttime scene but not positive about what colors to use. Well, we know that blues and sometimes even purples and greens, this whole cool side, is really good for making a nighttime scene. But but what do we do? So we can go here and we can count any colors next to each other on the color wheel. So let's say we just want to start. We want to start with blue because we know that's a good nighttime color. So we count that as our first color, blue. Okay. Then we're going to count 3 or 4. It can be 3 or 4 colors together. Okay. So let's go this way just for fun. So we're going to do this nighttime scene. We're going to go to blue violet. And then we're going to go to purple. Now you could stop there because an analogous scheme can be just 3 colors. But if you're bored with that, you want more, go there. Red violet. And this works for any colors next to each other. It does not matter. It's just 3. You know, yellow, orange, orange. There you go. You've got a beautiful lit morning on a farm. Take it over to red, orange. There, you've got your barn on the farm. So it works beautifully, no matter what. All right, that's pretty much it. You know, later we'll talk about how to use these more to set a mood, how to organize your warm and cool colors in an image for the most effectiveness, and there are other color harmonies that I didn't mention, so those will be discussed later. All right,